there is a growing desire for us as Africans to go back to a euphoric time where women submitted to their husbands and did whatever their husbands wanted, raised homes, and the men went out to work or hunt. The only problem is this euphoric African society where people followed a certain relative and ascertainable culture does not exist. What exists is the reality of women who are forever put under the heavy yoke of finding their place in a patriarchal society, in a society that keeps pigeonholing them in a space that must always be below that of men, no matter how educated they are, no matter what they have achieved, no matter who they are. There is a problem with the submission gospel, and that is what we are going to talk about today, because the submission gospel has been a weapon that has been used against the prosperity of women. This is Hide the Myths, where we sit in African kitchens, African women talking about their lives, reflecting about their issues in a tone that works for them, holding each other's hands and surviving in systems that were never built for them. I am here with the usual suspects: Margaret Katono, former administrator, former human resource lead, always bringing us the perspectives of back in the day, my beloved mother. Sometimes we argue in the show, sometimes we argue after the show, but together we have confronted the patriarchy for as long as Museveni has been in power. we have Margaret Katono, my niece, last year of high school, wants to be a doctor, a medical professional, very busy, but she also knows that the conversations are important, that public discourse is important. Thank you for making time, Maggie, in spite of your busy schedule, to always be on Hide the Myths. But last and not least, and in fact very, very important today, is Joanne Ainaviona, who is also called Joanne on Air. You might know her, very active on X, who has been at the forefront of calling out the problem with the submission gospel. We appreciate you. When we see a woman speaking truth to power, we say we need her on Hide the Myths. Joanne is a fellow communications professional, a fellow storyteller, a fellow podcaster, talking about AI, talking about generational clashes. If you have not yet seen her podcast, listen to it. Please, Joanne on Air on Spotify. Do take a look at what she's working on. You are watching Hide the Myth. Thank you so much. Our 1,500. I think by now you've even grown. I need to go back and count because we keep growing every day. Our 1,500 subscribers, our 15,000 viewers, our TikTok followers who comment and interact, who refer us to books, who refer us to their works. We appreciate you, and we hope you can invite us to your kitchen one day or come to ours soon. You're watching Hide the Myths. Usually we are at the Sunshine Kitchen in Chitezi, but today, Mom, we are in Mom's kitchen. This is Mom's space. We are about visiting kitchens wherever they are. No matter what your kitchen looks like, new, shiny, and modern, we want to be there. Small, modest, and cozy, we want to be there. Outdoor, within, cook, we do not care, because every woman's perspective, no matter their size of the kitchen is a powerhouse that has caused revolutions, and we want to be part of the revolution in your personal life. Today, as we delve into the problem with the submission gospel, I will start with Joanne. Today, let me start with our guests, because Joanne called out the submission gospel that happened. I think the conversations around the most recent submission gospel and the ways in which religion and the culture are teaming up to put the African woman in an awkward position. The conversations peaked last month in February. And the conversation was around the conferences that we are having, where women are being taught to submit, being reinforced. And these conferences are packaged as empowerment conferences. But the undertones are around how do we beat women back into the position that God prepared for them. And narrow Eurocentric definitions of religion and of God. So Joanne, tell us about how they have been packaging these messages of submission over time, and why you felt that this is something that we must indeed challenge.
Okay, so I think we're living in crazy times. There's a lot of facade. Everyone is acting, everyone is putting up a show. Tomorrow is Women's Day. Different companies are going to put out artwork, organize small events that don't actually move the needle on like actually transforming a woman's life. So I don't like people who act like they're out of touch, like touch grass. I remember when that whole ruckus happened, there was a girl who had been killed in her apartment in Shanja. Babi had been attacked in her house because of that whole political space going on. I mean, there's so much happening. There's girls who still go to school with sanitary pads. There's little girls being married off because their fathers want cows. There's like...
They were legalizing domestic violence in Afghanistan.
Exactly. Like, I don't even have to be a victim for me to know that these things happen. Like, there's terrible things happening out there to a normal day-to-day girl or woman. So for me, I remember scrolling on social media and seeing these videos. My first thought was like, who do these people think they are? Like, do they think because they have a phone and a camera, it makes them what? In this, like, I remember feeling so like rage baited. I did a video on TikTok that blew up but then I remember thinking, I'm like, we need to touch grass. Like, the real issues of what a normal girl is facing today have nothing to do with submission or marriage or men. Men are not attending conferences. I don't know if they even had an international day on, I don't know, how to take care of a chick or how to buy them a car.
Exactly.
They are not obsessed with those things. So for us today, do you know what's even crazier is there's a bunch of women who are willing to die on that horse. Like, there was reactions of like people in support, but then there was reactions from fellow women saying, leave us alone, that's important to us. And I'm like I can't help you. And I keep making this joke, I'm like, even a new president won't fix our problems. Like, we are our own.
And in fact, there's a TikToker who said, I love her so much. And in fact, if she sees me, I won't name her, but I love her so much. And if she sees this, I love you so much. And she said, and I had this conversation with my friend, and she said, you guys don't even have nothing to talk about but men.
Yeah. They
abuse each other, they talk about men.
It's true, but also it tells you about the headspaces of where we're in. Like, none of us can hold intellectual conversations without it being about a man. We can't talk about foreign policy, we can't talk about the war happening right now, we can't talk about Trump, we can't talk about anything else except
how to please a man, how to be sweet, how to submit, how to dominate.
How to give a man peace? Me, that's my biggest.
How to be in your divine feminine.
What do you mean give a man peace?
That's it. Dominate and submit. Can you eat and starve? You see. How do they?
What's the word? It's selling. It works. Some of the reactions I received from different people were like, hey, everyone is out here to get the bag. We're looking for money. So if people can... It's like when the times when Jesus was coming, he was telling people the truth, but there are people who were like, nothing, leave us alone, we don't want you. Like, he's making people walk and people are still like, nothing, this guy is a real fraud. So honestly, I think life is crazy, times are different, people are doing whatever they want to do. And we can't want that transformation. I can't want that for you. If I don't want it, I can't pull you and say, madam, don't submit. Come and we go and learn about a skill. It's crazy if it's women themselves. For me, that was like the most humbling part of like, there's women who were dragging me for saying, there's women who are going to drag you after this episode. They're like, oh, those things matter too. But guy, touch grass. Like today, those things don't matter. Men don't care if you submit or
Don't
not.
laugh.
No.
Men are about women. They're not about women.
No,
And
laugh.
I like how you know that men are not centering us in their
Not at all.
conversations.
Not at
They are not moisturizing their skins or their chapped lips.
Not at all.
It's for us.
So when we say things like this, women assume you're single or you're les or you're gay or whatever. I have a partner and we've been going back and forth about this conversation, and he was like, I don't know if you've moisturized your hair or not. Like, I'm not paying attention. I mean, I care about you, I love you, but I'm not thinking, oh, did she knew when she was giving me the juice in the morning? Like, he's carried away with different things and how we do this relationship over, oh my God, did she wear a dress today? Did she smell like perfume? Did she... Darling, did she speak with her soft, like, I presume, I've taken, we're watching a video here about how that whole misogyny and patriarchy, it's no longer men now enforcing it, it's women themselves saying, you don't belong in the boardroom, but you should make them a cake in the morning. Let me make muffins from scratch for my husband. The time to do that requires you to be in the kitchen. It's not the worst place to be, but I'm saying if you actually want to change the world, you can't be in the kitchen on a Monday morning making muffins, really. Like, when are we going to fix the Iran war if you're making... How is a muffin going to fix the Iran war? Like, we need real conversations. And now the upsetting part for me was you're in an empowered position to use the platform you have to, let's say, start a campaign as to why that girl, for whatever reasons, whether it was her fault or not, that she got killed in her own house. You're in a position to start a campaign either with police or people in security to figure out what happened to her. Or to, I don't know, campaign along with Bobby for women. I don't know, something that actually moves you from point A to point B. But you're telling me, gather, I'm going to teach you how to be feminine.
Your God-given position
And
operating your
it's-
divine feminine.
And social media has become the place. TikTok has become the place where women are reinforcing women. I feel like patriarchy has been so successful that they've recruited women to now do the dirty
Of
work
course, if
of
it
the
if it
patriarchy.
benefits them, then they will vouch for it. They know it gives you the societal approval of like, oh, I'm someone's wife. That's why even not unknowingly, we're by default in our blood, you're influenced to think if I have a ring and you don't, or if you do have a ring and I don't, I am better than you, you're better than me. So when boys are kids, they play with toys like, "Ooh," what do girls do? Tata ni mama. So by default, from like the time you're 3, you know that goal at the end of the day is I need that man at home. Meanwhile, these guys are like, I want the fancy car.
And when you achieve it, you rub it in our faces and you say, women submit so that you get this ring as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's benefited the people it's benefited. But now, again, it's privilege for you to end up in a position of, and of which privilege is not a bad thing. I don't want people to feel like when I say you're privileged, something's wrong. I mean, it's use every other advantage you have in life, but not at the cost of like real world problems. Like there's real matters of like life and death here, of girls not even living to their true potential. And
here we are submitting. Maggie, you've been appalled by this in in many languages. When a woman or when women who are privileged, women who, you know, you're driving, you go to work, and you are saying, you people submit to your men. By a lot of standards, you are not actually submitting. You have the privilege to negotiate. In many ways, you benefited from feminism because if the women hadn't gone out and pushed for the revolution, you wouldn't be working, you wouldn't have gone to school. And now you are bastardizing the feminist gospel and utilizing it to keep other women in suppression. I think it's a typical situation of kicking the ladder that you used so that other people don't use it and they stay right down there. It's a bit annoying because these are not women who are submitting. Please, excuse me, no.
it's not even about them submitting. They cannot sit there and tell us that the way they got where they are
It's by submitting. You don't climb the corporate ladder and be a manager as a by submitting.
You get up the corporate ladder by looking people in the face. I want a promotion.
Yes.
Increase my salary.
Yes. So why aren't you telling women that? So Maggie, what are your thoughts? What was your initial reaction of the submission? Because the latest, but the growing trend too.
Now, let's even start from a place. I feel, not a year, last year, I was in this era in my life. I would just say, oh, I'm just a girl. I mean, oh, I don't want things that so stress me. I don't want to go, like, simple things really. They seem so simple. But after thinking about it, I'm like, what do I mean I'm just a girl? Like, what the hell am I saying? So it begins as simple as that. Like, oh, I don't want to use my brain. Oh, like, okay, there's this thing with they're thinking, oh, when I'm with my boyfriend, I just turn my brain off. Are you mad? That's when I'm with my boyfriend, I just turn my brain off. Okay, fine, you're in love and everything. But in what world is it? Does that make sense to you? Like, I don't know.
Wait a minute, who are these people who
people say that you need to. I turn my brain off. Or when he goes to his big boy job and I'm there at home doing and the coloring. What do you mean big boy job? What is a big boy job? Now, we move forward. I started, I'm thinking, what the hell what am I saying? So I said,
so you were team soft life.
I was going to a rabbit hole and I was like, and remember my joy, I identify the feminist, but as I said, no one is immune. Even me, I'm not immune to the patriarchy, and I can tell when I'm doing something totally off. I was like, what? I shared with my friend, I'm like, you babe, what? So I go into a rabbit hole and I'm thinking, yeah, I get to see, okay, this is not good. So I see women who are actually, and they're like, these statements reinforce the patriarchy. And you may think it's something so small. You go into spaces people are talking about, when my husband comes back, I have to make sure everything is okay, I have to make sure this and this. Go on your phone right now. Scroll through 4 TikTok videos of women in Uganda only sprouting about the man, being fat phobic as usual, they're always fat phobic, talking about people who are fat.
Or if you're fat, you must be fat in a certain way. Abusing women, or just talking about men and how men are bad and how so and so and the side chick. So I'm like, and again about their vacations, which men
paid for. Oh my God, that my man paid for. Oh, okay, fine. Your man is amazing. We get that. But what I want to bring it back to is there is so much going on in the world. So much. And I know we look for the happiness and the sunshine in things, but let's not be tone deaf. And even if you're not tone deaf, I would actually, for me, I'd rather you do indifference than spread propaganda like that. Rather just don't care, say nothing on both sides, than say something that's going to be like, for me, I was raised like this, I have to kneel down. I'm not a feminist. You're in a trouser, let's start there. You get up in your car and you go to work. You vote, you have a bank account, you have a phone, you have a platform.
You are the definition of disrupt.
What do you think did all that for you? Because it wasn't even far away. Like, it's not a long time ago. It was just
in 1985 when we had the equality.
It was just recent.
And women fought to have equal rights.
People went and demonstrated. Remember when Lokodo was going to ban miniskirts and you went and protested? Now when you go to Volt, Krug, all the bars, everyone is a miniskirt. Why do you think that is so? Otherwise, we would have been in our diras.
Yeah, they were coming after our bodies. Women demonstrated the killing of women in Entebbe. Today, we don't know where that could have gone. Women are fighting day and night. Feminists are fighting. Now, but there are people who are... Yeah.
Now, let's even get deeper. In Afghanistan, they have legalized domestic violence. There is a war looming. What else has happened? There is FGM. Female genital mutilation, there is increased maternal mortality rates. People are dying while giving birth. What the? Like, I'm just not only 4 things. I'm already crises. So many things are happening. Children are going to school. People are like, there's so many things I could do. I go to my phone and say, you know what? I love this man. I have no doubt for this man. And then this man, that man, every day. My man, oh my man. You can relax.
They probably raped a child in your neighborhood and you're talking about...
You can... Sure, exactly. Sure, Jeff... I don't say his name. Sure, getting eaten.
I think we're out of touch.
It's a bit sad.
Absolutely. And I'm busy there saying in my house, I'm just a girl. Absolutely not. I can't bring myself to be that kind of person.
These things confirm why we're a third world country. Honestly, like
What I think is to be or not to be submissive is the question. It's a question, to be or not to be submissive. Let me tell you, however submissive you may be, this person who has been preaching the gospel of being submissive, does she have a co-wife, for example? Because if a woman is truly submissive, these men you see, they would have a line of one wife in this room, the other one in the other room, the other one in the other room, and you're supposed to take it fine. Share this kitchen. That one is my gas, the other pot is yours, and this pot is mine. And you're supposed to bring food, maybe in turns. So this lady who is actually preaching the gospel of being submissive, does she have a co-wife next to her?
Would she even take a co-wife?
Would she even take a co-wife? Because if you're submissive, that is the first thing of being submissive. Because the woman is going to say, yes, I have a woman. Okay, so, okay, Tata. Oh, it's okay, bring her. Is that what you wish to do? Because every wish of the man, if you are submissive, is what? It's your command. It's what you must do, and always, not once, not twice. Any submissive woman won't even have plaited hair. Because no man would want to see you even with plaited hair. Men want to see you this where they think nobody else is going to even give you a second look. They are very comfortable there, incidentally. I'm talking of when I'm 60 plus years. They are very comfortable there. A man will even not allow you to go to work. Why? If you are submissive, you say, okay, Tata, let me stay home and look after the kids. That's what every man would want. If you are this submissive woman, this woman that is preaching the gospel, does she stay home and look after her kids?
No,
she's around and about and driving and what, and she leaves home with one, leaving a maid to take care of her home. I don't think her husband is as happy. I don't think she's being submissive by so doing. I don't think that's being submissive. And if she had been submissive, as you had said, she would not have reached where she is today. She wouldn't have. How?
Well, Ma'am, you told me something so profound growing up, and I do not even think you remember this. But you used to leave your room, and I'm growing up in the society, and I hear whispers, the maid shouldn't clean your room, the maid shouldn't lay your bed. My mom would wake up, she leaves the room, and the maid enters and does the cleaning. Then I asked her, Mommy, I heard that maids are not supposed to clean your room. Then she said, what are you talking about? Even if you clean your room 1,000,000 times and follow all these rules, if a man wants to cheat, he's going to cheat. Yes. If he's going to leave,
they will cheat. It does not matter how humble, it does not matter. If it is this in him, it is going to come out. He's going to do it. There's nothing that will stop him. So it's just better people just move on with their lives. Do what is good for you. One time my sweet husband even came and told me, he was not happy. This was even my first job in, where was this? This was
duty-free?
Duty-free, Uganda duty-free sales. That was my first job. So, well, now this was my second job, but the first job was not as proper. This was my first proper job. So he came one time, he got and said, I'm going to come and tell your boss to stop you from working. I said, excuse me?
Wow.
You'll tell my boss to stop working? Museveni's wife is working. And the president's wife is actually working.
And you're telling your wife not to work you with your
yes, not to work. Then I told him straight, if you want me to stop work, this marriage is over. And I'll tell people, my first husband is my job. And indeed, through refusing to be submissive, not accepting what his wishes, because that his wish was to stay here, cook, I come back home at my own time, and I must find you home. And the kids are okay. It is through that, being defiant that I am here, I am this far. That's how you came to be. Because I was, as I tell you that my job, I will tell people, my job is my first husband. Because through my job, I solved a lot of problems. Through my job, I paid school fees. Here is a living testimony. Through my job, I bought my own cars. Yeah. No man has bought me a car and brought you. So if I were submissive, I don't think I would have gotten many positive things. I would have suffered, even my children would have suffered a lot. So it's not what I would advocate.
She said something about she bought her own cars. And then it reminded you of that soft girl era. So there's like low-key, there's still competition of like, oh, I'm more woman. Men bought me cars, they did. There's like a low-key competition of like, oh, if you knew soft girl, if you can turn off your brain or be soft and feminine enough, they bought me cars, they have it because you're not feminine enough. Like there's like a low-key competition, and I don't get it. Like there's people literally selling that on TikTok of like, if you're feminine enough and your boobs and like, oh, you're going to get men to do things for you, but if men are not doing that for you, you're either a tomboy or you're lacking, or you're not good enough, or like there's a whole.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Now let me give you an, as you're consuming media about how to make men happy, how to be your divine feminine. Men are there consuming incel media, and they are consuming media on how to rape women, treat them the worst, treat them like rags. And I want you to Google that. Check Reddit, check Discord, check. They are advising you to rape. They're advising men to rape. They're advising them to treat them, and it is true. And you may not know that, you Auntie-Pesh, but there is deep incel media where I tell you, rape them.
I mean, there's things that people are doing terrible things. I don't want to make it about men or women. I mean, people are terrible.
People are doing terrible things.
Men or women.
Yes.
I mean,
that's a fair point. That's a fair point even to make. It's not about men, but it's just about how many things. In Mulago, there is no medication. But for you, you're getting on your platform to say, well, even if Mulago has the medication, even if people are dying on the floors in public hospitals, please submit to your husband. You never know he'll buy a Mercedes Benz. You never know. Not that I'm sure, but he might. Can you imagine?
No, but you see, I think there's so much anger amongst men and amongst traditionalists because they feel like women are empowered. Yes. And then there is a rise of conservatism on the other side and anti-women's rights movement. So you find men going to these deep, dark places you're talking about to find a way to take us back.
I think men who are afraid of empowered women are not men enough.
I think so.
Honestly, there's no debate about that. Like, what, unless you have a mental issue, I don't understand when men say, you sit home, me, I go and work. Like, it does not, it has nothing to do with him being jealous that other men are going to see you. He just wants to put you in a vulnerable spot so that you're like somebody who, it has nothing to do with, you're just not a good person. Because if I have a job, I mean, take away from like, oh, she's trying to find a job and she hasn't found one. But I mean, like, I have the potential, I'm educated, I have opportunities, and you're telling me, sit home. I don't know, like it doesn't make sense. And I'm glad that conversations like this are happening, but then also more women are opening their eyes. Like, what's the word? They're being de-influenced from that whole, oh, because I have a husband, I've made it in life, or like my life starts and stops here at motherhood. Because even women who still suffer at that expense, like we're sitting here talking about these things, there's a woman who's going to see this video and abuse all of you. Yes. Like, but at the same time, those women continue to suffer because these things are not secrets. I like that. I like what you're sharing. Like, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. You could be short or tall, you could make a nice juice or food, you could not cook. And that's why people say women who don't do things for men are like the happiest. You're not trying to break your back for a meal for him. If you can cook for him, if you can nail for him, you're not doing it with the expectation of like, oh, he's going to put me first or buy me that fancy car. Or I think it's good that more women are opening their eyes, but then also more women are sharing. Women, there's a TikTok series that went viral some time back of some woman saying, who did I marry? You continue to see that women who have put themselves second before, I always, for some reason, you always regret. Yeah, and you're still telling me.
They almost always regret.
You always do that, even in like a normal real setting. If it was a job, if you put your job first, you will regret it. If you put your best friend before yourself, you will regret it. Men are no exception. So I think we even over drag them in the mud because we think they're like super good. They're human. If another person put you first like that, you definitely take advantage.
100%. And just to let you know, in this country, we are budgeting 700 million for data. In schools, in schools, there is no blackboard, there is no chalk, people are studying outside. We are studying for data. So my job on here is to let you know. Now you know.
Now you know. We do not talk about women's rights, feminism, to argue, to bring forward the little complaints. These things have actual impacts on people's lives, actual impacts on our economy. I have some statistics here, as usual. They are U-boss statistics, Uganda Bureau of Standards. They're not international, they're not from the colonizer, they're our statistics. And women have different reasons. For women, a lot of women believe that it's okay to be beaten. 58% of women, more than men, 44% of men think that it's okay to beat women in certain circumstances. 58% of women think it's okay to beat women in certain circumstances. That brings us to, we are our own agents of patriarchy. We push the misogyny. When you look at the reasons why women think that they should be beaten, they all have to do with submission. Wife does not complete housework. Wife disobeys her husband. Wife refuses sex. Wife asks about other women. Husband suspects infidelity. Wife is unfaithful. So one with the highest percentage of people, women agreeing that women should be beaten is wife disobeys her husband. 30% of women who have never experienced violence. They have never, those elites who are pushing for submission, they've never. But 30% of them say it's okay to beat a woman when she disobeys her husband. 23% of women who have never experienced violence, 23% of women who have experienced violence say it is okay to beat the woman in certain circumstances, specifically when she disobeys her husband. So you see 30 to 23% under disobedience. Another with high is wife is unfaithful. The men are unfaithful every day. But if the wife is unfaithful, 52% of women who have never experienced violence think she should be beaten, she should be subjected to violence, and 37% of those who haven't experienced think they should be beaten. Not completing housework is, I could be tired. What is disobedience? Wife disobeys husband. How? When I do my hair different, how can you live to obey a person as a grown adult? How can your whole aspiration be to obey a person? And these are the things that the submission gospel is preaching, whether we want it or not. It's about being subservient, obeying. Mwami wange, kankufumbire, kankugonderere. It's very, very disturbing, and people are subjected to violence every day. So while you're here up there preaching the gospel of submission and making money, there's a woman being beaten because she burnt food, because she disobeyed her husband, and they're looking at you. Why do I say this? In my village, Chitezi, this Kampala village, where I live, my name was once used to push for the submission gospel. A friend of mine, very saved, went around telling the village that, you see that Patience with all her big UN jobs and all her achievements, her husband comes back and she removes the shoes of the husband and brings it, I know, shock. But the thing is, there is hunger for this gospel. I remember I was so mad when I heard about this. I talked to my therapist and said, I can't fathom how, for all that I have done, people could interpret my life as a submissive life. This is very dangerous. And my therapist, a wonderful, wonderful psychologist, said people are looking for an excuse for their lives. If somebody is being beaten at home and they look at Patience and they're not beating her, she needs an excuse. She needs to justify. She needs to say that you're doing some special things. You don't deserve the human dignity. Society has told them that a woman can't just live in dignity and happiness with a partner. Joan, like you, I have a very long-term partner. A lot of people assume that we feminists, we don't have partners. I have a forever partner. But somebody says the reason why it's working with her partner is because low-key, she's a submissive woman. They can't accept. Yes, she's hiding something. And I thought it was quite dangerous. The conversation comes from a place where they tell us, you see, they cheated on Halle Berry. What about you? When you're trying to assert yourself as a woman, they point to other women who have made it. Yes? They even cheated on Beyonce. Do you look like Beyonce? Why are you leaving a cheating man? And for me, I feel that the elites, the women who have made it, who push this gospel, are coming from that space where they are being the people who fit into that category of, we've made it, but we are still women, we are still submissive, and ignoring the real danger and reinforcing the real risk that women face every day. And women are willing consumers of that gospel. They're like, this is what we want to do. And they pay money to go to these conferences and go back and be battered.
So I think women are gullible. If you check the numbers of people that attend church, 85%, 90% of women that go to church today are women. Women are gullible, and also we are cowards. We are not... Like, probably we are victims of that whole oppression of like, hey, tula wansi, toli anyama. I get where it's coming from, but we are not the first people to rise up in a room and say, hey, I'm uncomfortable. If there's a war here or whatever, we won't be the first person to punch another enemy. You get there's that by default. So that is why we are willing to take whatever ounce of hope of like, okay, school maybe because when you look at most of the people going at these I don't know, attending, feeding off that gospel of submission, there's a common precedent in their patterns at life. It's either the jobs they do, the things they spend their time doing, the content they consume. I keep making jokes with my friends about the informal sector loot of like they're consuming content that puts them in, even the songs they're listening to, the hair they do, the clothes they buy from that, you get the commission they have in their saloons, the bike guys, you get like it's not a shocker. If you go and do like a case study of like their religion, their head space, you realize there's like a common cocoon where they fall. So either they're in church. A lot of times it's church that's putting you in that whole victim mindset of assuming that, and that's why I'm saying, I'm like, man, feminism didn't happen for you to still think you're a victim in 2026. Places have been put in place, schools are there for both men and women. We are competing for jobs same way. You get like, so for when you do your research, if you try to do research, you realize there's things that kugata them. Same hairstyles, same the way they think about no offense for you. You realize they're the same.
The frontal wig.
Whichever, but you realize it, the way they think about God, the way they think about this country's politics. And now when you're sharing the comparison, it makes me think of the time when we were doing elections. There's groups of people who are like, man, because it's not directly affected, it hasn't rained in your household, so you don't think, that saying of like, just because your roof is not leaking, you don't think it's raining outside. Same thing, like, if those things were happening to their sisters, they wouldn't be doing that stuff. So people who even go for that gospel, you're out of touch. You don't have a sister who has failed to go to school, or gone to your village and heard that some old man married off his little girl, and there's nothing you can do about it. Exactly. But if they were, for me, I understand why you're really angry. I was very angry. I'll show you a video. But most of that now, the peace has come from one. I was told we're calling these people out from a moral point of view. of like, hey, don't look out for yourself. Yeah, you're going to make money, but that's greed. Real help people if you're helping people. Yeah. So we're calling it from a moral point of view, but again, who says the world is still riding on morality, man? People are doing whatever they want to take you back home. But then at the same time, like I said, I can't help you if you don't want help. Like I can put food on the table, but there's a whole chunk of women subscribing to that, like hard, who still think you need to. And for some reason it works, but in the meantime they get that guy. The guy marries you in 6 months. You've gone home. You're now wife material, kuchalo. You're better than all the other ones, daughters who didn't get married. And I'm not saying marriage is bad. I keep saying, I'm like, man, when people hear us rant here, they think you don't want to get married or you hate men, man. Like it's. So I think.
Yeah, men making feminism about them. It's not about you.
Maggie, for me,
such as a victim.
And men who have an issue with that, again, I'll say the same thing. You have a problem as a man because if you don't think women are oppressed or women, unless you're benefiting off women's naivety or us not knowing better. For a man who thinks feminism is about them, they're just terrified of, they're not going to get the opportunities they were getting from women's, that's all. But men who get it, I don't know, I feel like men who get it know what an empowered woman can do for them. Like
there is actually a breed of men who want this woman because it's growing quicker with your family.
It's so much benefit, it's wealth. Like I don't get it unless you're crazy. I don't see why a man would expect, like it's literal wealth, man. Like
you don't like happiness.
Exactly. You don't want trips to the Maldives. You don't want BMWs. You don't. What do you mean? Because I don't get it. Like I don't get it. Unless you're like a terrible person, you don't want me to make a back for myself. I don't see why a man would say, "I have angry black women, feminists are just." I don't like. You just have a mental issue.
Single fathers.
Yeah, those things.
Like you
are. There's that too that they keep throwing around.
They beat that, so we have a.
They talk about chicks. The other comments. You must be a single mom. That's why you're angry. I'm like, guy, you don't know me like that.
I don't know how many times I've been told that. Where is your husband even?
Like, is that supposed to what? Kill you? Is that supposed to?
But Maggie, my question is for you, and for me, my concern is the media, how we have failed to utilize it. And that's how Hide the Myth was born, if you remember. And the conversation that we had was, women are not sitting to talk about serious issues. When they sit, we are laughing at random things. And there's a place, backbiting each other, spilling the tea in a way that is not progressive. And we talked about how about we sit and talk about the issues that should be talked about. So we have traditional media that just mutes women. For them, they're about men's issues. They are about the big political questions. They forget that the political is personal and there is a link between the domestic and the political. So the women are mostly in the domestic realm and men will not really investigate the issues there. And we start our Hide the Myths. But how do we look at the sphere, the social media, TikTok? How do we turn that space into a progressive space? People will tell you, freedom of expression. If you want to talk about your serious issues, talk about your serious issues. For us, we want to dance and shake nyash and talk about soft life and share these videos. And these videos, I feel like they have a bad psychological effect on the younger generation because they feel that that's life. They feel like you talked about, I thought that was the aspiration. What can we do to change this space? What would it take to rewrite our socials?
Now, for me, when something irritates me, I just report the account or block the account. I don't have time for things that give me a headache. But like for me, if you irritate me, if I see like an account that is commenting weirdly under minors post, I just report. I mean, like I can do whatever I want. But now, looking at it, I think having conversation like this is important. I think having conversation even at saloon level. Okay? Let's say even at Kafunda level where I go eat Chikomando, I think it is so important. I think it's important to make it known wherever you go. Me, I'm a feminist. Hate me, love me, beat me. I don't care. I do not mind. You like make sure when you choose yourself, you have to make it known. And that's where I stand. Those are my views. nowadays social media. I always, even if I'm meeting someone, I have to make sure that for me, I'm a feminist. This is my right A, I support right B, I support right C, I support right D. If you're not okay with that, I'm sorry, but I can't do it with you. I also use my platforms, I also use my Snapchat, I use my WhatsApp, I always.
So more feminist speaking. I also feel like feminists are tired. Like we talked and you reach a point and you feel like a lone voice.
Even having an argument with a friend who's saying something that is off, even if we may not agree, at least they would have heard me and they would have listened and they would have understood and have not shied away from what is actually going on.
Yeah, you just come clean.
Hey, for me, even if we are meeting and you're my friend, even when I changed schools, my first thing was that me, Margaret, I'm A, I'm B, I'm this, I'm that. If you're not okay with it, please exit now so before we get to please, because I know my beliefs, I know if they don't align with yours, it is okay. I don't want to spend 3 hours convincing you that you need rights or you deserve to be treated as a human being. No. That is not in my jurisdiction. For me, I make it known. But otherwise, if it really, I see it's really out of this world, I'll just report the account or block it. I don't really have energy for all that. So I can have only liberal content, feminism content, things that...
I think that's so important. I like how you've individualized it and you make it look like there are things that you can actually do. As a feminist, me, I was tired. I got tired. I fought battles on social media. I stopped because there's so much misogyny there.
Even if it's your salon lady, if she says something weird, you also tell her, you know what?
That's wrong. Because sometimes we keep
even
quiet.
A border man, even if what, you tell him
your instructor, your driving instructor. Well done, Maggie. Well done.
The thing
I will
about it,
remember
you'll
that.
always meet. Yeah, you'll always meet people.
I get tired, but I remember that.
Even if you argue and you don't agree, they will have heard what you've said and they would have known you're not the one to play with. And that's exactly, that is as far as we just not the one to play with. You're not the one to, even, actually they know. When they may start topics at school, they be like, but if you involve Maggie, you know what's going to happen. So
as we summarize, as we need to go into parting shots, Mom, you people submitted. You submitted. You submitted in every language, in every angle. You did the submission thing.
Yes, that's the gospel. That was the gospel.
That was the gospel. There was no alternative.
No. That was the gospel.
I want to ask you, what were the benefits of submission and what were the disadvantages and which weighed which?
Okay. Now, as I already said, submit or don't submit. Be submissive or don't be submissive. The results will remain the same. It just depends on the person you are facing here. Your other side. If this person has decided that this is the way I am taking, no amount of submission is going to change. No. No amount of submission is going to change anything. You are only wasting your time, your energy. It's just being wasted.
What did your generation get from submission? Do you think we are better for submitting or not submitting? What did you get? What was it like? What was the outcome? What are you like?
My generation benefited from being submissive is, I think, just problems. Being weighed down. You know, you are carrying a whole burden on your head, on your neck. You are supposed to keep, you are dying, you are developing hypertension, you know, because you can't just speak out. And if you spoke out, no one is going to hear you. I'm telling you, the family will sit here like this. Before you know, you're being called over for a meeting. That's the one thing I had yearned for, but I never got that. One day, I thought, one day, if they call me, they should call me to a family meeting. Why don't they do this to me? But I think they also know that here is a no-go. Yeah, it's not after I gave birth to this and then they talked, and no. I think so it's from the very beginning when I see that, no, there's not much in this thing. It's better you stay yourself. You have your own principles. People will talk, that woman, that one has married a mad woman. That woman is the mad. They will call you mad. But you are not mad. You are just thinking, this is your own, you know, this is my right. I have a right to do this. I have a right to say no. I have a right to challenge this.
And also people create problems for these men, but I've never seen any man say, oh, my wife is too. And they have every no man comfortable where they are. Right?
So the thing is, being submissive, I don't think yielded much. The person who stayed defiant, I think, achieved much more. Yeah, because when I look around the people, the co-wives, the women who are married into the same family, those that stood and said, you know, I don't know of any that the husband didn't tell you, woman, don't go to work. You know, we were all told that. Your friends say, you know, this man told me to stop working. I said, what? And luckily for us, none of us stopped. Yeah. We all went. I have my co-there, my elder one. She's my role model. She worked so hard, you know. She pushed and she really moved her family to another level.
Talking about your role model, that very Christian woman, I remember her telling me that nowhere in the Bible are specific roles for women and men stated. It's human interpretation. Yes. And in fact, when you look closely, the Bible says, go out, work hard, own land as a woman, feed, I don't know, have the vines, buy land, grow yourself. Yes. So also, the gospel is very much misused. Yeah. And for me, the superstars are women who are Christian or who are Muslim, religious women, but they reject the submission gospel and they speak boldly against it. And a lot of our submission issues are rooted in religion. A lot of these conferences are religious conferences by religious women. But a lot of the parts of religion are colonial, Western perspectives. And the Western society really, really clobbered the woman. When the white people came here, they told the men, but what is wrong with your women? You need to clobber them harder. So what these people are doing, they are reinforcing those colonial perspectives and telling the African woman who should be empowered, who should buy vines and grow her family and buy land, and they're saying, no, go back under. And it's very, you just brought her up, and I thought that she's one of those women that we really look up to as a family, as an example of a Christian woman who is not just sitting back and saying, I will do the soft life, and she's inspired us all.
She has worked so hard, she has pushed her family to where it is, she has contributed economically, she has morally, you know, she's this strong woman. I salute her all the time.
We salute you. You know
hey, hi, you know yourself.
You're watching Hide the Meat, where we have feminist conversations at African kitchens with fantastic African women, brilliant African women. My heart is full every time we meet one African woman and then we go to another and they are brilliant and they have opinions. And they're taking us to a better place because we are learning from them. We are stirring discourse. They are busy women who have very important things to do, but they make time and be here with us. We appreciate you, Joanne. We appreciate you, our guests who make time for us, because you know conversation is important. Maggie, I think what you say is really profound. As feminists, we should not shy away from identifying as feminists, even if it's you know, it's almost like a blight. It's feminist, but it's something that we should own, because if we shy away, if we let the patriarchy bury us further, then nobody will know. If we don't speak up personally, I am tired of preaching feminism to people who keep pushing back and misinterpreting and taking us back to the old ages. But I think that's so important as feminists, older feminists, millennial feminists. I know we've done work, I know we've fought, but please come back. Let's take back our spaces. Let's have conversations. Let's share information. It is really, really worrying that in a country where a lot of things are happening, in a world where a lot of things are happening, very important point there, Joe, and that you bring. So many issues, wars are happening, domestic violence is a reality for an estimated 56% of women aged 14 to 49 years. 95% of women have experienced lifetime violence. So nearly all of us have experienced some form of gender-based violence as women. It can be as profound as you are beaten at home by your husband, you experience violence by a gang on the street, or it could be as simple as not simple. There's no simple violence. It could be maybe you are on the street and somebody was harassing you because of what you've worn. We've all experienced it. We've seen it. But in this same world where women are experiencing violence, where there are issues where women are experiencing exclusion, where women are being killed, and by the way, we are still waiting for answers. We do not know who is killing the women. People confess and unconfess. And all these issues are there. And women in politics are being arrested. They're disappearing. They're being attacked at their homes. Joanne raised that point, very important. We women, what are we choosing to talk about? We are choosing to talk about our soft life, but then it's our bodies that are the real battlefields, and we cannot keep sitting back and keeping quiet because the men are having conversations about putting women back in regressing women in terms of what they have achieved, but also they're having conversations about getting ahead and building themselves. And these are the exact conversations that we have been having. Our dear followers, thank you again for watching. We appreciate you for always taking the time to join us, to listen to us, and to be with us. You are powerful. Your platform is a good platform that you could use for better, for furthering conversation, instead of pushing for submission. Your privilege is a good thing if you check it, if you are aware of it, and if you use it for good. So think about how you can utilize your place and your platform for good. You can still have your entertainment as long as it's not misogynistic or putting people in the harm's way, but think about how else to use your platforms, because conversations are happening, change is happening, and it's important that we have all the voices. For our parting shots, as we close the show, who should I start with? My name. Who should I start with? Okay, Maggie.
So, one thing I need to let you know is if your boyfriend, in his repost, there are only cars and Ronaldo and movies and anything else, nothing pertaining to you. And in your repost, it's when he smiles, when he eats, if he does this, you need to self-reflect. Look in your heart and think to yourself, is this something I want to live in? Is this a situation I want to be part of? That's one. Two, decenter men, decenter boys. Make sure when you sit with your friends at a place, make sure the last thing you bring up is a boy. Make sure the last thing you bring up, at least talk about, let it be your closing arguments. Let's talk about anything else but a man. Stop posting about how bad they are. Stop posting about how good they are. Like, just because boys don't do that. They don't. When they focus on cars, they focus on anything but you. And if they do, it's very minimal that it's about you. That's another thing. Secondly, even if on your platform all you do is shake nyash or what, yeah, you can be as promiscuous as you want to be. Like, those women are usually deemed bad. But for me, I believe that that kind of freedom, we didn't have it at first. So do what you want to do. But at the same time, do not misuse that platform again and spread the dominating gospel, the what gospel. I tell this dominate, submit. No. Do what you want to do on your platform, but do not spread misinformation. I said for me, you'd rather be indifferent and not care than tell people that submission is dominance. I don't know what that is. That's normal in the English language. You're a lit student. Is that normal? Submission? No.
She stoops to call.
Real things are happening. People are suffering. Women are dying. Children are dying. Even men are dying. Focus on, look beyond. Look into your book. Study. Go to school. Actually study. So maybe do other things. Work. I don't do anything else. But listen to this man, because they aren't. They're not the thing that you're not on their mind. I promise you that. Anyway, this was fun. Bye-bye.
Mommy, your parting shot.
As I said earlier, to submit or not to submit. And when you are talking about submission, ladies out there, ask yourself, what is submission? Submission, I think, should be a balance. If I submit, I would expect the man also to reciprocate. Because if submission is only put on, the whole burden is put on women, that women should be the ones to submit. When are the men supposed to submit? Because I'm married, I have my ring here. He also has his ring. So we should strike a balance. Okay? Men should not, so they are talking about men being beaten, women being beaten. When to beat a woman, A, B, C, D. When is a man supposed to be beaten? When he does what? Oh, these men are angels that never really, they never flaw. There's nothing. They are these angels. They are not angels. So I want the world to tell me, when are we supposed to beat? When are men supposed to be beaten? When they do what? Because stop saying a woman should be disciplined, a woman should submit, a woman should kneel. What should a man do? Stand tall and just walk? We are not going to manage like that. Even back in my time, I'm an old woman. The people who really submitted, I think walked away with almost nothing. They could not even take their own kids. If the man failed to pay school fees, the children would stay home.
I'm so sorry, Mommy, to interrupt you.
Yes.
But by the way, you can submit someone and they die, and then you're left penniless. And in fact, you can submit, you're at the funeral, and then his second wife comes in with her 9 kids. And his third wife comes in her 10 kids. And you have not a dime to your name, not even a business, not even a nika that you own as yourself.
Yes.
So they could also just die. Continue.
Yes, that is very true. So if you are to submit, think about yourself. What are you benefiting by being submissive? Is it okay? Okay, if you want to submit, let it be relative, maybe. But for me, I want someone to reciprocate. When I submit to you, please submit. Meet me midway and we move on. Don't just be pushing me, and please, and the relatives of men, please, out there. Stop coming and meddling in my homes that, hey, that man's wife. No, I married only one man and we have to argue. Hey, leave us alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will, ma'am, what you say about those women didn't really submit. My grandmother, Veronica, my namesake, she used to go and cook ngul. What do they call waraj? Yeah, she used to go and cook waraj in the banana plantations and sell and send her children to school. Yes. Because this man you're supposed to submit to, he has many wives. Sometimes he doesn't even have resources, and she also preaches the submission gospel. But it's ironic because she defied her husband. She also used to serve the kids food in the bush, in the garden, because the husband had decreed that each of his wives, only one wife should cook a day and everyone should eat. Then she realized that when the kids eat with the other wife, they don't get enough food. Then she went and started cooking in the garden. Yeah. Where they couldn't see her. She's defiant. I like to say our grandparents were feminists. They didn't identify, but they were feminists. They refused, they pushed back on certain things. So that conflation of you're feminist, you defy in your own way, but when other women are defying, you're like, come, I teach you how to submit. But you don't teach them the ways in which you're defying. It's quite problematic. I don't think anyone can be okay submitting. I don't think submission is possible. I think we are human beings, we are partners, we are equals, and it's a lie. Bakurimba, no woman is submitting. Even that one looks like she's submitting. She's not. She's hiding the meat for her kids to eat later. Joanne, you have the floor now to give your parting shots and help us close this conversation.
As I was hearing you guys going about submit, I think it goes back to when you go back to the roots of what now the whole submission thing is. Let's first take away the point of privilege. We are privileged to end up, let's say, in a marriage. So there's situations where you end up with a guy because you don't have a place to stay. You can sleep at his house. You need him to feed you. So of course, by default, you're going to submit. You're like, say now, let me sleep here. So I think it goes back to how do we. My theory of fixing this world's problems is don't have kids. I want to have kids. But I feel like don't add problems to the problem. This girl, how does a girl end up in a situation where you don't have a place to go, or for you to live at a point where you're like, I have to do what they're telling me to do because I don't have. It's because you don't have a fallback plan. You can't go back to your parents' house. Your parent is also fending for themselves. They probably also don't have a home. They're in some other, not even at your father. You get like, I feel like it starts from, let's say at my point, let me not say it starts from a little child. Let's say at my point right now, me having a child and bring them into this world without a proper plan is what continues the cycle of the problem. You're not setting a good example. You're not sufficient enough. Whether I've raised that child with a husband, the father, or whichever, it's not sufficient enough. Which leaves, so submission does not even entirely mean, oh, sit at home, don't work. Or it can be in many ways of like the disrespect of like, you sit home, me, I'm going to go out. Submission doesn't favor the woman at all because it requires one of you to shrink for the other person. And that's why they keep telling women like marriage is service. I'm sure she can attest to that. Marriage is service, and for women it requires you. That's a Gen Z way to say it, but it's true. But like marriage requires service. You have to, of course, if you're married, we both know the African traditional setting of it is you can't be a wife and there's no food at home and you're ordering for KFC every other day. Realistically, it's impossible. It's expensive, even when both of you are making money. Like one of the two is find a balance. But for you to end up in that position of like, I bring A to the table, you bring B to the table, we're going to compromise and make this union work, comes from oina wori, like I am composed this way. So I think even before whatever submission looks like to your man or to wherever you as a young woman, for women who haven't had kids, please don't have children before you have a proper plan, because you're sending them into that whole misery of like living at another person's mercy, financially, emotionally, whichever way. That's the first thing I want to say. Like let's cut the cord of the problem. Like let's have more empowered, well spaced out kids where like you can sustain your child to uni. I used to have a friend. I still have a friend who before Loki, she used to annoy me because man, while I was fending for myself, she had her parents send her money for her hair at uni. And I'm like, okay, you and I don't have the same problems. But then I realized it's a good thing that at uni her parents are still like, why? What's the video? Let me send you some money. And unlike me. Now, if I wasn't who I'm wired to be, probably raised the way I was, I would be like, oh, some dude who is going to... You cannot be living on someone's mercy and the guy is telling you, come back here at 8 and you refuse. I think what will you do? You have to come back at 8. So empower girls, but then also empower them, but also I think delay that whole process. People are pumping out more kids than they can afford to take care of, which leaves
the situation for them to end up having.
Exactly, like we're not.
Reproductive health is part of the niche. Yeah, it's part of the ways in which they tie you in situations.
True. That's the first thing I wanted to just clarify. I think the only other thing I'm going to add on what you're saying, and then another was each one do one. What you're saying, you do the feminism thing, where you go out and give everyone a piece of their leg, can't wait. So me, I go out of that energy. I'm like, I got tired. I'm like, man, I'm tired for this. But before, I would give you properly. I didn't care if you were old or young or whatever. Like, who do you? So, but now I'm like, you have energy. Well done. Keep going. No, see, each one do one. There's a lot of people doing the. I think for them, they're not getting tired. There's a bunch of people are doing the worst of things, like telling girls the wrong things. Jebali, like people are telling now, because the feminism thing is not the feminism, the feminine divine energy. Those people are working hard to push out that content.
They are really working hard.
Exactly. So each one of us, make sure you're equally working hard.
But it also depends. Like for me,
and they're making money, some of them.
Exactly. So for me, that's a wake up call. I'm like, I also need to aggressively do my part. I cannot chill, because those people are not chilling. The other thing I want to say is, for every other young woman, I don't care if you're 12 or 16 or 30 or a single mom or married with 3 rings, or you have 10 cars from, I don't know, you've had 5 men propose to you and you are not above the system. I think for me that humbled me so much. Like, I cannot stress it enough. You are not what Talunga Buluza. Like, you are not above the system. That's why they keep saying those things of like, oh, Beyonce was cheated on, Cardi B was cheated on. You are not above that patriarchal system. Even these men, sometimes I keep thinking, I'm like, we blame them, but Bambi, they don't know better. They were born into this world, and so their fathers do the same things and bring the same things. They're teaching their boys the same things. So a lot of them also still operate they don't know better. So it's heavy enough for you to carry that rage and say, oh, men are. It doesn't help you. You just carry on. If you really just understood that you are not above the system as a young woman, it doesn't matter if you're educated or uneducated. If you make those 3 meals a day or not, if you give the best intimacy or not, if you're holding him down while he's going. I think I think the best solution would be, these conversations are great, but like the best solution for me, in my opinion, would be to sit here and argue about AI. I want, you see, I don't know what's the most thing in your life right now. I don't know, sports. Do you play any sports?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so for me, there's things. So there's like things that hold importance in your life. You're like, for me, like my mom would say church. For her, any day, she wants to go to church. So things like, good, like maybe sports, she probably thinks about it once a year. I want women to what you're saying, decent men. I want this whole to be the list of your priorities. Like put it down. Let whatever you're obsessed with right now, school or hair or I don't know, hairdressing if it's a skill you're learning, or corporate ladders, or buying that fancy car, or the new shoes, or traveling, to be like, those be the things that give you sleepless nights. Not because the things that hold, and that's our problem, the things that are holding the biggest space in our heads are this conversation, which of course it amplifies. The more you accommodate it and talk about it, amplifies, and now you're starting to think, you even start to think, oh, you have a problem that you've not found a man in Yakaji, you're 28, and disempower that stuff. Of course, I keep saying, I'm like, man, we like boys, we're not going to pretend we don't like them. We do, but like, disregard them, take them as, I think, no more man. You like the guy, you don't.
Another thing is that misogynistic men, just for you guys, misogynistic men don't listen to women. So why would I listen to a man telling me I belong here? For me, I just even be like, is there someone talking to me, or am I hearing? Like, I can't even listen. I can't even argue with someone. Like, how can I waste a lot of saliva like that?
True, match their energy. There's a lot to learn from them. I think for me, I've stopped. I don't want to say I used to hate them, but at the time I was growing into women, I was, men are trash, but I've also learned a lot from them. They can tell you they are very self-centered. People call it selfish, but they put themselves first.
Men are about men.
So for us, we keep saying, oh, Wananga, let's support each other. I'm here looking at you and kuzimula you. That guy is not looking at him, thinking about him like that. He's like, bro, what's up? Like, do you know all those jokes they keep saying, boys bond more than bestie? Nothing, bestie. In there, that's the thing you're saying. You're like, oh, you have a platform, you've made it, and now you're kicking the ladder down so that other women do. Boys won't do that. Boys won't even bond like, oh my God, you're here. They won't do that. They won't give you that fake, oh my God, your nails are so nice. They'll be like, what's up, bro? What's up? So I've picked that up from basketball, and I realized boys are way more loyal than we are. And that's why they support themselves way more than we pretend to say we are. Like, truly, yeah, so long as I'm better than you, like I want to empower you, but so long as I still am better. Women, even just for in your mindset, no one is coming to save you. It doesn't matter if you're the prettiest or tallest, or why you're Moses' child, or why you have a fine body, or why you don't have. You're not above the system. No one is coming to save you. The earlier you pull up your pants and talk about real relevant issues today.
And stop snaking your friends. All my friends are girls, because girls are nice friends. All my friends are girls.
2050, we shall be 50, and we will be talking like her. We will be talking like her, and for you somewhere there admiring these girls, you're like, what did these women do?
Okay. Thank you for watching Hide the Meat. Please stand up for yourself. You don't want to come back 50 years later or so, and you're regretting because you didn't live authentically, you didn't live fully, you didn't choose joy, you didn't choose you. Thank you for listening to us each time. It's always a pleasure. Joanne, thank you for making time. I feel like this is a conversation that must continue. So yes. We hope you can return. Yes. We hope we can have more conversations. Thank you so much. Nice, really. It's been wonderful.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you. See you next time.